Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, Adam here, and you're about to listen to an anxiety-themed hypnosis session that was created for a client that didn't used to have anxiety and panic attacks, but then had a panic attack while they were in hospital. And then from that point on, had a series of anxiety that followed, and it created this fear of fear itself because the panic and the anxiety was unexpected. So from their perspective, they were trying to mitigate risk by thinking about the kind of places that it would be worse or least advantageous to feel anxious. And this is the kind of situations where they couldn't mitigate the anxiety, like being on a plane or being on a car over a bridge where they couldn't pull over, or being in a confined space. And what was clear is that it was the evaluations that would be the worst possible place to have a panic attack that was increasing their anxiety. And therefore, that's the paradox of anxiety, is that thinking about anxiety can create more anxiety and then lead to the very thing that you're trying to mitigate and avoid. So in this hypnosis session, it uses metaphor, it uses timeline techniques, because the point of inception was that early panic attack where they started to try and mitigate the risk and think about the situations where they didn't want to be in. But rather than thinking that they can experience anxiety and manage the anxiety, they were thinking that they couldn't manage the anxiety and that panic was the representation of them not managing. So I use the metaphor here of a lemon tree because most people get the idea that a tree can only produce the fruit of the species of that tree. But if we go back in time and plant a different tree, then that new tree can produce different fruit. And obviously the fruit is a metaphor for the thoughts, and the tree is a metaphor for the belief that underpins the thoughts that come from that. This was created for someone with specifically panic attacks and the fear of panic itself. But I think this hypnosis session will benefit anyone that is anxious about certain situations or has certain beliefs that they can't cope, because the overriding new belief here is that they can experience anxiety and manage it, that they can cope. And by having that belief, then it doesn't give them the necessity to think about where anxiety might come up, because the overriding belief is that even if it does come up, they can handle it. And that creates an entirely different self-fulfilling prophecy. If you experience anxiety, this session may help, but it was created for an individual. So if you like the idea of exploring whether hypnotherapy can work for you, there's a couple of things that might be helpful. One is that I have a suitability test, so you can gauge very quickly if hypnotherapy would be relevant for you. There will be a link in the description. But I also have a 7-day free course which has 21 different hypnosis sessions over a 7-day period, and you can access that course completely free. So if you like my hypnosis, then that course is completely free. Just look for the link in the description. And in terms of this hypnosis session, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in That's it. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of stress, tension, and worry to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you imagine how good it would feel to breathe in resourceful relaxation and to exhale any worries, any evaluations, any anxiety, just feel it leave your body in your outward breath. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to get a sense that you're drifting deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine what would happen if 10 years ago you planted a lemon tree. I want you to think as that tree had those roots get deeper and deeper, and as the years passed, the tree got larger. Doesn't it stand to reason that a lemon tree can only give you lemons? And you might want the lemon tree to give you an orange or a mango, but it's a lemon tree. It's only going to give you a lemon. And I want you to stare at this tree. And I want you to get a sense that the lemons on the tree are thoughts, and the tree itself is a belief, and that something happened in your past to plant this tree. But what if we can go back in time to when that tree was planted and plant a different tree? If we could go back in time and plant a different tree, the tree wouldn't be giving you lemons. It would give you something else. And I want you to think how good it would feel if all of these feelings of anxiety that seem to come out of nowhere were replaced with more empowering, optimistic, confident thoughts. And as you stare into the lemon tree, I want you to think back to a moment where you were in a hospital, perhaps on a bed, and I want you to be the observer and witness you having that panic attack. But imagine that there is thick, bulletproof glass between you as the observer and that version of you experiencing this. And I want you to see a survivor. I want you to see someone so resourceful that they could manage something under difficult circumstances. Not much sleep, experiencing pain. I want you to see a version of you that coped incredibly well given the circumstances. I want you to be proud of that version of you. That wave of anxiety felt overwhelming, and yet you found a way to manage. You found a way to cope. You found a way to survive. And I want you to make the evaluation that when something unwanted, undesirable, overwhelming happened, you coped. Maybe not in the way that you wanted, but you coped. You handled it. You got through it. And I want you to get a sense that you're already starting to plant a new tree. But you can't plant a tree in the same space that another tree exists. So I want you to imagine going back in time, seeing that tiny sapling of a lemon tree and pulling it out by the roots. And then in that same hole where the tree used to be, I want you to plant a different tree. A tree of resourcefulness. The kind of tree that would give you thoughts again and again all by itself. That you can handle it, you can manage, you can cope. Everything will be fine. And maybe you think of it as a specific fruit tree. Or maybe it's a magical tree in your imagination. A tree of resourcefulness, a tree of empowerment, or a different tree. But I want you to imagine planting that tree. That lemon tree of anxiety is now replaced with a different tree of resourcefulness, of empowerment. And when the new tree, a tiny sapling, is planted, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to see that version of you having that very first panic attack. You're now looking at it with a new lens. That even though something so unpleasant, so overwhelming was happening, you managed. You did the best you could with the resources you had. You managed. I want you to be proud of that version of you that did so well with something so unexpected. And then go forwards in time, realizing that back then that would have felt like an earthquake, an emotional earthquake. And as is the case with earthquakes, sometimes what follows are tremors. Something similar to the earthquake, but at a different time. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself in a nail salon. I want you to see that version of you experiencing one of those tremors. But because a new tree has been planted, I want you to see a subtle shift in that version of you. I want you to see that version of you looking resourceful, managing that tremor. I want you to see yourself coping well. That even though there's an aftershock, you're handling it. And if you can see yourself handling it well, let me know by nodding your head. jump forwards in time. Seeing yourself in your own home, maybe days or weeks after that emotional earthquake, with yet another tremor, another aftershock. But the new tree is now planted, that you will cope, that you can manage, that everything will be okay. So as you observe yourself in your own home, having that tremor of anxiety, I want you to see the facial expressions of someone managing that tremor, riding that wave, perceiving it to be manageable, temporary, no big deal. And if you can start to see yourself handling that anxiety in a more empowered way, not desirable, not pleasant, but manageable, let me know by nodding your head. And then jump forwards in time and see you, perhaps in a clinic, a doctor's surgery, or a hospital, giving blood. But this version of you isn't making evaluations about being stuck or trapped. This version of you feels that you can handle anything life throws your way. That even though there may be a needle or a tube taking blood, you can handle anything. That even if there was anxiety, you'll manage it. So see that confident, empowered, resourceful version of you handling that anxiety in a more resourceful, empowered way. And notice when you meet the anxiety with a feeling of resourcefulness, the anxiety becomes weaker and shorter and even more manageable. And then just imagine, because the new tree was planted, I want you to imagine for the years that follow, you felt resourceful in situations that you had limited options. See yourself flying and see yourself looking confident and calm and comfortable on those flights. And see yourself driving over bridges, looking relaxed and comfortable in your car, without even the thought of anxiety, because you can handle it. See yourself in situations that in the past you felt anxious, but see yourself now looking comfortable, calm, and relaxed. All the way up to the present and then into your future. And I want you to imagine seeing yourself doing something in the next few days and weeks that is exactly what you would be doing if that new tree had replaced the old lemon tree of anxiety. Those old intrusive thoughts of, what if I panic? What if I can't get out, escape? Have all been replaced with new thoughts. I'll be fine. I'll cope. I'll manage. Even if there's anxiety, I'll ride that wave. I'll handle it. And each and every time you ride that wave of anxiety, the waves get smaller and less frequent. And if you can start to see a future where those old thoughts have been replaced with new thoughts, that anxiety is now a wave of opportunity to surf rather than something to avoid, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then imagine being in that garden, seeing the new tree that is many years old now. And there are no lemons on this tree. Because it's a different tree at a different point of inception. This tree gives you fruits of empowered thoughts, evaluations that you can rather than you can't, that you'll manage rather than you won't. And I want you to imagine picking one of the fruits of this new tree and feeling that as you eat that fruit, you are feeling resourceful, confident, comfortable, and full of empowered resourcefulness, creating wonderful self-fulfilling prophecies that you can handle it because you can. Because you did, you will, and you can. So it's time to leave this place, but you leave this place with a new belief that it doesn't matter where you are, you can handle it. And every now and then, even if an echo of the old belief system comes up, that is just an opportunity to disprove it. Ideas that you can't cope can be disproved by coping. Ideas that you won't be able to manage can be disproved by managing. And each time you reinforce the new belief system that you'll be fine, which creates the self-fulfilling prophecy that you will. It's time to leave this place. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.